Alright gang, another deep dive video on a perfumer, and this is a perfumer that I actually know personally. I've actually worked with this perfumer. We're talking about Julien Rasquinet today, a deep dive video of fragrances he's created. Are you guys familiar with this perfumer? Have you gotten your nose on 54? The fragrance I collaborated with Jusbox on, and the perfumer is Julien Rasquinet. Such an awesome fragrance it is. It's a really, really awesome, great fragrance to wear the coming autumn months. But I wore it in warm weather, and it smells great even in the warm weather. But we're talking about Julien Rasquinet here. We've got probably around 45 to 50 fragrances from him. And as I'm going through the fragrances, there's going to be some big chunks of fragrances he's done for a few brands. Like, for example, he's got 5 fragrances for Electimuss London, 4 fragrances for Lark, multiple fragrances for Jusbox, and various other brands around the mix as well. So there's some great fragrances here, and I'm going to give you a rundown of my favorites that he's created. You probably know which ones are my favorites, but you'll hear at the end of the video. But if you have a favorite fragrance created by Julien Rasquinet, do let me know what it is. Add a comment below. If this is your first time tuning into my channel and you haven't watched any of my deep dive videos, there is a playlist in the info box. You can click and watch hours and hours and hours of deep dive videos of perfumers, fragrance styles, notes, brand overviews and all that kind of stuff. So you can just let the video run and play hours and hours of fragrance content. So let's get started with the list. We're going to a house that's not very well known, although I do have a video that I launched with the brand recently, and I've spoken about the brand here and there throughout the years, but I recently launched a video on this house, which actually features this fragrance created by Julien Rasquinet. This is from AETHER, called SOLAER. You guys familiar with this house? This house is kind of like Eccentric Molecules in that they focus on molecular notes or ingredients to create their fragrances. Although I think they do the combination like eccentric fragrances from Eccentric Molecules rather than individual notes like Eccentric Molecules does Molecule 1, which is one ingredient or note, called ISOE Super. This brand does more fragrances that are similar to the Eccentric Molecule eccentric fragrances, where they take a molecular note and add other notes to it. In this case with AETHER, they add a lot of different molecular notes along with regular notes as well. This to me is kind of like a tropical solar floral gourmandy kind of experience. It's a bit beachy, very powdery. It does have that sunny solar experience, and I quite like this one. It smells so realistic. It just smells like a kind of a beachy fragrance, gourmand leaning. And it's a fragrance style that I haven't noticed Julien Rasquinet do before, because we've got a lot of Middle Eastern style fragrances here that you'll notice. Most importantly, Frederic Malle's The Moon, but this doesn't smell like any of the other fragrances that I'm going to talk to you about. Same thing with 54. He did that fragrance, and it doesn't smell like other fragrances that I see his signature style in. So I like what we did with 54. It's different than what he normally does. And again, there's nothing wrong with those fragrances. He's got a style. He knows the style that works for him, and that's what people come to him for. But I think SOLAER is so different than what he normally does. Same thing with 54. It's different than what he normally does. Let me know if you're familiar with SOLAER from the house of AETHER. It's a very futuristic house, by the way. We've got a fragrance from the house of JAZEERA. It's MARRAKECH. Are you familiar with this one? I have a video on JAZEERA. My favorite from the house is tobacco. I'm sorry, no, not tobacco. It's patchouli. But in that same collection with patchouli, there is another fragrance called tobacco, which I do not have here. That is also created by Julien Rasquinet. I haven't got my nose on that one, but I'm obsessed with the patchouli from this house. Here, I feel like it's a very Middle Eastern style fragrance. It sort of reminds me somewhat of the idea of 24 by the 24 fragrance, that Middle Eastern kind of warm, ambery, spicy fragrance style. That's what it reminds me of. It's a tried and true style, and it's a very welcoming and also kind of comforting style. I'm familiar with it. I think it reminds me a little bit of Latafa Raghba, I think is the name of the fragrance, which 24 reminds me of. And there's a lot of other fragrances that kind of were in that similar style, which is what this one's reminding me of. These fragrances from this house are super potent. If you never discovered that house, they have a store on the Champs-Élysées in Paris. That's where I discovered it. And I fell in love with patchouli there. I love the patchouli. The patchouli is created by Olivier Cresp. To me, it's kind of sort of like his Angel that he created in '92 with a bit of Guerlain's L'Instant de Guerlain pour Homme au Extrême. So it's kind of a combination of that. But the Marrakech is quite nice. It's very familiar and, again, very Middle Eastern style. Next, we're going to talk about Amouage and its Enclave. This is the only Amouage fragrance I have. Unfortunately, Enclave is not necessarily one of my all-time favorite Amouages. It's... You know what it reminds me of? There were these green-colored chocolate mints that were very famous. Oh, God, what's the name? They're very thin. They're kind of like little thin wafers. It's a chocolate and mint combo. That's what it kind of reminds me of. It smells like a kind of a candied mint. And I'm very picky with mint. So I think this has a following. People seem to like it. But because it's got that kind of candied mint effect, it's not one of my favorite creations of his. But once I get past that, I think he did a great job on this one. It smells nice for someone that likes the candied mint effect. And for me, I much prefer mint that's fresh rather than smelling like candy or toothpaste and things like that. Thankfully, it doesn't smell like toothpaste. Otherwise, I'd be completely turned off. But there is a whole candied mint effect. And what is the name of that green mint? They were like, when you went to a restaurant in the 80s, maybe even in the 90s, they brought out your bill and they would put like 2 or 3 of those kind of wafer-like small mint chocolate candies. That's what it reminds me of. Anyway, let me know if you're familiar with Amouage's Enclave or Enclave. Add a comment below. So we've got 2 fragrances back-to-back from the house of BDK. So we've got Ambre Safrano. And once again, not a favorite of mine from BDK. I like the next one a little more. And we'll get to some fragrances of his that I really love. We're not starting off... I don't know what it is about Ambre Safrano. It's kind of not necessarily very warm. It has a bit of coldness about it. It's acting too resinous. And also, the Safrano idea gives me the idea of saffron. So it's a kind of an amber with resins, I think, and of course leathery touches. But you might be a fan. It's not my favorite from the line or his creations. It doesn't do it for me. And I'm a big fan of his creations, but that one I suffer along with it. I just don't know why I don't click with it. But I do enjoy Tabac Rose a little more. Tabac Rose is tobacco, it's chocolate, it's rose. And it's got a smoky quality about it. And also the dark chocolatey, but it's quite powdery. Yeah, it's definitely got a kind of a smoky edge about it. But I like the brightness of the rose. And the sweetness of the chocolate that's in here. Again, I like the creations. They're not my all-time favorites of his. We'll get to some really great ones. I think they're going to be towards the end of the video. But we've got one here. We've got one here from a brand called CONTES de Parfum. This is called SALALAH. You can see his name on there. It's a very Middle Eastern style fragrance. It's got rose and it's got, you know, ambery touches and things like that. This brand was very intriguing. I discovered it at Harrods when I think they had just put it out. I don't even know if it's still at Harrods, the fragrance hall anymore. But this is saffrony, it's ambery, it's warm and spicy. Perhaps a bit, it's a bit leathery and oody. But there's a cozy, comforting vibe about it. It's very warm and ambery. SALALAH, are you guys familiar with it? CONTES de Parfum. I think they have a few that are really great. There's one by Anne Filippo that I really like. I've also spoken about the one created by Ramon Monegal, which we featured in a marine video recently. So next we've got a few fragrances from the house of Costume National. First of which is I. Wait, I think I shouldn't do I first. We'll do I first. This is I. This launched as a duo, I and J. J was Fanny Ball and I is Julien Rasquinet. And they were both at IFF. I think they're both gone now. Of course, Julien went to CPL. And this is a really great, spicy, resinous, smoky, Middle Eastern style fragrance, but there's a slight freshness in there. And I like this one quite a bit. It's dark, but I like what freshness and brightness that's in here, giving it a bit of a fresh and warm contrast. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Costume National's distribution in the States. They haven't really been able to come back ever since they lost out on Barney's. Barney's, I think, was really the main company that sold a lot of Costume National fragrances. But once Barney's completely went out of business, it's been tough for the brand. And they've got some great offerings. This is really awesome. I think that I and J, I did a video on both of them together, were definitely great launches. They launched as a duo. And if you don't know Costume National, it's a small Italian fashion house. And also, I should say, it's the same folks behind Jusbox that also are the ones that are behind Costume National. So that's why I've been a big fan of Jusbox, because I was always a fan of Costume National. Always a big fan of Costume National Homme. And then Homme became Parfum Edition. That one was created by Dominique Ropion, also at IFF. So really enjoy the fragrances of Costume National. Maybe I should do a video on the house. Let me know what you guys think. But next, it's Freedom, almost like Freedom, from Costume National. This is a combo of citruses and woods. So it's interesting. When we started working on 54, or just before we started, the news came that I found out from the folks at Jusbox that Julien had resigned from IFF and he went to work at CPL Aromas. And we had to wait a while before we can actually start on that project because I guess for contractual reasons. But I think he did this with IFF because it launched as we were starting to work on 54. But what I like about this one is a sweet tart take on lemony citruses with spices. I think they're also kind of warm and fresh spices together, not necessarily just fresh or warm. And then there's a lot of woods. So the woods have this kind of wood shavings kind of experience here. I remember smelling this in Work in Progress, and I remember really enjoying it. But if you like freshness and woods together with spices, definitely check out Freedom from the House of Costume National. And then we've got a fragrance called Secret Woods, also from Costume National, created by Julien Rasquinet. Who's a fan of the brand? Let me know what your favorite fragrances are from the house. This one's a dark, kind of mysterious, cool, wintry kind of woods experience. I get a lot of vetiver. I also get like papyrus or cypriol here. Eventually, it has some ambery touches under the fragrance, but there's also spices along the way. I prefer a Freedom a little more than this, because this one, again, it's all woods. So it does get a bit boring for me. I want some contrast in there to give it a bit more excitement. But anyone who's into woods would really, really appreciate that, I think. It's basically all woods, spices, fresh spices, maybe some light amber touches in the dry down. Anyway, that is Secret Woods. Now we're getting to Creed. So, I did not know that Julien did Royal Mayfair. I didn't know. Okay, I'm sorry to say the fly is back, guys. I'm not sure where I'm getting flies in here because it's quite, maybe while I'm opening the door and closing. But Royal Mayfair was a redo of Windsor. So basically, Windsor was vaulted, and for some reason, Creed decided to redo it as Royal Mayfair. Was it the same? It smells very close to Windsor, but there are some differences. But I actually really like this kind of clear, boozy. I think it has eucalyptus. I think it has rose. There's a sexy factor about this fragrance that I really, really love. I think it was discontinued and it was brought back. My bottle has gotten old, unfortunately. And I had bought this used without a cap. So it's a bit off, sadly. You can see back there. So I keep all my fragrances in cool, dark, dry, unless I'm in here. Shades are closed and the lights are off and there's air conditioning here at 65 degrees. But that, I don't know. I bought it used, so I don't know how they kept it. So it looks like it's a bit off on the top notes, sadly. But once the top notes fizzled away, I really got Royal Mayfair, which of course reminds me of Windsor. And I don't know who did Windsor. Windsor is vaulted. I don't know, but I just read that the Royal Mayfair is Julien Rasquinet. But the one I really love that he did is Royal Oud from Creed. I absolutely love this fragrance. So super sexy. Although I don't think it's oud. It's royal wood, I think, is what it is. But it's quite green. It's a bit vegetal. I think it has angelica and galbanum, so it leans green, and it's also got a lot of cedar. It does get a bit smoky for me. Seems like it's a bit ashy. Or it's kind of I don't think there's any smoky notes in here, but it acts a bit ashy to me. But I like that about it. But a really nice creation. I absolutely love it. It's my favorite Creed still. I wish it was a bit more potent, but it's very fresh. And then another one he did that I really love from Creed is VETIVER Geranium. Is this even still selling? It's one of the best fragrances. Really great combo of vetiver and geranium together. Oh, it's good. So good. I absolutely love geranium. I have grown to love or enjoy geranium more and more as I get older. One that I recently discovered that I should be talking about is from the collection of the Boss fragrances called Sensual Geranium. I just featured it in a haul video. I can't believe how good it is. And I don't usually go around thinking, oh my God, I need to get a geranium fragrance. That is so good. And there's a few geranium fragrances out there that are great. And this one, if it's still in existence, I don't even know if it is. I bought a tester online. I think it was a tester. It's got all this writing. But vetiver and geranium together, they are so, so good. The geranium in here does have a slight mintiness. And against the grassiness of the vetiver, it's a woody, earthy, aromatic, and spicy. So, so good. So good. I guess there's a slight rosiness in there as well, but I don't get much of the rosiness. I get more of the mintiness from the geranium. But love it. I love the smell of geranium on the plant too. It's got a bit of citronella-like smell. I don't know if you guys are aware of that. But next time you come across a geranium plant, definitely smell it on your hands. Rub the leaves and see what you get. Let's go on to the brand D'Orsay next. It's Incense Crush. This was launched last year as an extract for D'Orsay. This came out around the same time as 54 came out. This is super smoky, resinous, and ambery. Kind of a fusion of fresh incensey resinous notes with warmth on the bottom, the base. So there's also woods here, some spices. It's a bit peppery, but there's something slightly sweet and molassesy under there, but smoky molassesy, not as sweet as I would think sweet can be. It's a pretty nicely done incense fragrance. It's not my favorite, but I think if you're looking for a smoky incense, dark molassesy incense fragrance, definitely check that out by D'Orsay. One I really fell in love with last year. This one I actually really love, and this is a co-creation with another IFF perfumer by the name of Paul Guerlain from the Guerlain family who works at IFF. So this is created during the time when Julien worked at IFF. This is Dries Van Noten Chamomile Satin. It's a yum fragrance. Love this one. It's a very unique smelling vanilla focused fragrance. I remember they had just put that out. I was in London last August for the launch of 54. And of course I was there for a few extra days, and I went to Selfridges because I like to go to their department stores. This was just put out. There's something I think maybe it might be the notes. I think there's Immortelle here, because I'm getting something Immortelle herbal-like that contrasts nicely from the vanilla. And the vanilla is not super sugary sweet. It's a bit sticky, but not heavy on the sweetness. So good. It's really nicely done. Chamomile Satin, co-created with Paul Guerlain at IFF. It's from the house of Dries Van Noten. That's become a favorite fragrance of mine. In fact, that's my #1 favorite. And I also really love the Havana Gold. That's my second favorite now. But Chamomile Satin is so unique in the smell. Yum. Okay, we've got a fragrance that I don't really care for here. I don't know why, but this just doesn't do it for me. This is Amber Aquilaria from the house of Electimuss London. I don't know why I don't care for this. I don't know what it is about this one. Oh, I just hate everything about this. It is not a fragrance I would ever wear. What is it about this fragrance that bothers me? What do you guys think? Are you a fan? I don't know what they were thinking about launching this fragrance. It's kind of weirdly animalic. And I'm a big fan of ambers, but this amber just doesn't do it for me. Absolutely not. Ugh. I don't know about that fragrance. I don't know. There are some fragrances I just don't care for, and that's one of them. And being a big fan of Julien, I was wondering, why is that fragrance launched? What were they thinking? I don't get it. This one's better. It's much better. Aquila Absolute from the house of Electimuss London. Yeah, it's spicy. It's dry at the same time, but also it's kind of a sticky, resinous, ambery background as well. It reminds me of something. Is it leather that I'm getting here? There's some kind of leathery touches behind the scenes. And I think Julien does quite a bit of leather. Quite a bit. In fact, a lot of his Middle Eastern style fragrances do combine leather a lot. And this gives me a leathery effect. I like it much more than the Amber Aquilari. Oh God, I don't know what it is about that fragrance. It just doesn't do it for me. But Aquila Absolute is much better. But the next one I enjoy even more. It's Cupid's Kiss. This is kind of minerally, airy, ethereal, aura-y, kind of spicy. Yeah. And ambery as well. This kind of acts a bit like, not the smell, but the way it wears, like Ganymede. There's this kind of, like, airiness about it, but not super thick and dense. Is that making sense? Something about this reminds me of the wearing experience of Ganymede, but they're so different. This is also very peppery, spicy. And again, it's very aura-y and minerally. So it's got this kind of airy, ethereal, like dust floating in air kind of wear. It's also got a lot of incense. So it's definitely got like smoky touches. And I think that's where we're getting the minerally touches. So that is Cupid's Kiss from Julien. My favorite of his from this house is Gladiator Oud. Love it. But it does remind me of the moon. But this to me reminds me of the moon and something else. Something with a lot of cumin spice. Because I do get it here. It's really, really awesome fragrance. If I ever want the moon to be a bit different, a bit more rougher, a bit more spicy, sweaty, I would go for Gladiator Oud. And I think it's appropriately titled Gladiator. They're fighting, they're getting sweaty. So you got that here. It's a bit rough, but in a good way. This is really good because it's reminding me of the moon, but then it's not the moon kind of a thing. So I like that about this. It's a more animalic take on the oud. The moon from Frederic Malle. But this is Gladiator Oud. Let me know what your thoughts are on Gladiator Oud. Add a comment below. And then we've got another one that I don't care for. It's Vichy Leather. I can't click with this one. I don't know why. Yeah. Not my favorite fragrance. Woo, this is a weird fragrance. It's an out there kind of leather. It's weird. It's almost like green vegetation and leather together in an animalic kind of weird way. That is just completely I can't wear that at all. Not at all. But here we have one of my all-time favorite fragrances of Julien Rasquinet. It's the Moon. It's so good. I went through a whole 50 ml bottle, and I've got so many fragrances to wear, so I haven't been wearing much of it now. But going through a whole 50 ml bottle of that before the prices had gone completely up says a lot about how much I love a fragrance. And if we're going to say going through a lot of bottles, I've gone through about 6 bottles of 54 since the launch. But this is so heavenly for an oud fragrance. It's definitely a masterpiece, I think. It's the right amount of oud and fruits and spices and rose and smoky touches. Just it's a masterpiece for sure. I love it. Love, love, love it. And you can't love every single thing a perfumer creates. You can't. And you can't love every single fragrance a brand releases, you know? You can't. But Frederic Malle's The Moon is so good. I do have to say, I'm going to get to it in a little bit. What's behind the moon in the notes breakdown kind of reminds me of another fragrance that I'm going to get to in a little bit. Kind of. Not identical, but the woods in the moon reminds me of the woods in this other fragrance. We'll get to in a little bit. But the next fragrance I'm going to talk to you about is from Headspace. It's called Myrrh. And everybody knows what myrrh is. It's a resin. Remember frankincense and myrrh in the Bible? Myrrh, it's an interesting myrrh. It's there's an interesting aromatic quality about it here, but behind that there's some fizziness, this kind of a Coca-Cola fizziness, but a fresh Coca-Cola. And of course this becomes warmer and more resinous as it's drying down, and it becomes more ambery, because myrrh sometimes ends up in the accord for amber. But it's nicely done. This doesn't smell anything like what I've smelled from Julien Rasquinet, which is great. This is also getting a bit smoky. But what is the green stuff up top? Are you guys fans of Headspace? Let me know, add a comment below. But next Headspace fragrance, he's done 3 and I've got 2, is Santal. This is one of my favorites from Headspace. And as I was smelling the moon, under it, there was this slight reminder of Santal from Headspace. I don't know why. I don't know if you guys have gotten that before. So Santal from Headspace is a rosy champagne effect with a creamy sandalwood. And it might be the combo of the rose and the sandalwood in the Headspace fragrance called Santal that kind of reminded me of the rose and the woody notes in the moon. But also this champagne effect in Santal of Headspace does have a slight fruitiness as well. Because in the end, when you're doing wine tasting, you're trying to pick out fruits and all these different notes from wines. So I'm getting a slight bit of fruitiness here. And of course, it's made from grapes, obviously. But I like this, that it's fizzy, it's champagne-like. Maybe it reminds me a little bit of that Liquid Imaginaire fragrance created by Sonia Constant. What is it called? It's about red wine. Or it's about red champagne. It's sort of like that. Not identical, sort of like that. But I love that. Santal from the house of Headspace. Who's a fan? Let me know. Add a comment below. And then we've got a fragrance from the house of Histoire de Parfum. It's Edition Rare Fidelis. Are you a fan of this one? This one has a huge following. What is it about this fragrance that you guys like? It's good though. Honestly, it's good. It's dark and mysterious and ambery and resinous, smoky, but there's some brightness there too. What is it about this fragrance that everybody seems to love it? It's ambery. I like it quite a bit. Let me know if you're familiar with this. This is Edition Rare Fidelis. All right, next we're going to the house of Jusbox. And Jusbox, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 fragrances I'm going to talk to you about today. But also, recently I aired a video on the new Jusbox fragrance called London Hall. If you haven't caught that video, please go catch it. And in that video, I also do a ranking of the fragrances created by Julien Rasquinet for Jusbox. I don't have every single fragrance he's created, but I do have quite a bit of them here. So the first one I'm going to talk to you about is Black Powder. And the fragrances of Jusbox obviously are inspired by music. This is inspired by grunge music. I think they've used the Nirvana idea here quite a bit. And to me, it's a very powdery leather. It's suede leather, but it also has some juicy appley notes in here as well. And I like it. It's a unique take on leather, not like other leathers that I've smelled, which is kind of a breath of fresh air. But there is there's two more leathers that he's done, including the new one, London Hall. So we're going to talk about two more. There's one that's actually kind of like Tuscan leather-like, not the new London Hall. And for me, I felt like London Hall is kind of like a toss-up between the one called Black Powder and the other one called Night Flow. But really cool. I love that. The whole idea is great. I like that freshness from the apple, the green freshness. Adds a bit of a juicy layer, which is kind of great. But it's quite powdery, and it's called Black Powder. It acts a bit like gunpowder to me as well. Next up, I think it's the most popular Jusbox, CARIOCA Heart. That's also a Julien Rasquinet creation, and it came out a year before 54 came out. But I can see why this is popular. It's mangoes, it's pineapple, it's warm, spicy, it's ambery, it's ambroxany, and a great trail and sillage. It does have that Middle Eastern vibe, but kind of going into more of a fruity, tropical direction. And this is inspired by bossa nova music. So I love that. It's great. And the trail it leaves behind is so awesome. But we're talking about 54 next. I'm sure you guys know about this, and you probably heard way too many times about this. But I'm so proud of this fragrance. It's just an awesome release. And I was happy that I was able to get Julien to do something that is totally different than some of his other fragrances. Because when you're going through all these fragrances, you tend to kind of see his style and the way he creates fragrances, which I don't see here. But what I love about this one, it's warm, spicy, it's milky, lactonic, it's chocolatey, and of course it's got tobacco, and the focus note is the patchouli with vanilla. It's also fruity. We've got fruity in here. We've got the pina colada, plus we've got the davana. I think he did such a great job on this. It's an amazing fragrance. And for me, on the dry down, on skin, it becomes milk chocolate. So good with the tobacco-ish leafy touches. So that's 54. An awesome fragrance. Really love that one. Next, we've got Green Bubble. A bit challenging to wear this one. It's a very greasy, oily take on cannabis, inspired by reggae music. I wouldn't say it's animalic. It's just not a conventional fragrance. It's a bit out there. And I think the cannabis has this weird greasiness. I think there's some grapefruit in here. Maybe that grapefruit skin is providing that kind of greasy, oily effect. It's not a bad fragrance. I wear it, but it's a bit challenging. Let me know what your thoughts are on Green Bubble. And then we've got London Hall. So it's a leather fragrance and inspired by the music scene in London. And of course, Harrods and Parks. What I like about this leather is it's got a lot of spices. It's kind of ambery, very leathery, but I like that it's meshed with white flowers and some rosy touches, but I don't get the rose as much as the white flowers that are in here. So it adds this kind of a creamy layer to the mix. In the end, you do have the leather, and I feel like it's a nice fusion of the two other leather fragrances, Black Powder, and the next one I'm going to talk to you about is Night Flow, with the addition of the white flowers, because the London Hall also meant, like in the description, it mentioned parks and the parks in London. So you've got this kind of, floral growth and things like that. But for me, Night Flow does very much remind me of the style of fragrances like Tuscan leather. And there's a major fruitiness about it. Lots of saffron-y touches. And of course, leather accord. It's a really great one, I think. Just if you're familiar with Tuscan leather, you might not need it, but I think it's a really solid offering for something in that style. So I get a bit of Night Flow and also a bit of Black Powder in London Hall with the addition of the creamy white floral notes and spices and amber. All right. So we've got 2 more left from the house of Jusbox. We've got Sirens and Sailors. I'm starting to really love this one. The rose in here reminds me of the Montal rose. So this fragrance reminds me a little bit of Intense Cafe. But when you really smell this, it's not milky. It's a bit fruity, but the fragrance wears like mulled wine. There's a wine effect happening in this. It's quite gorgeous, but there's boozy notes here. It's inspired by the music of Amy Winehouse, Blue-Eyed Soul, I believe. And I forgot to mention what the inspiration for Night Flow was. It was rap music, I believe. But really digging Sirens and Sailors. And I think Sirens and Sailors is definitely one of the more popular ones from the house. I think the most popular in the house is Carioca Heart. I think the second popular has become Jusbox's 54. I think the third might be the molecular one. The one about Acid House, and I forgot the name of it right now. Cheeky Smile. And then the last one about from Jusbox I'm going to talk to you about is Suit of Lights. This one's inspired by pop music. This is also an extrait de parfum in comparison to the other fragrances, which are eau de parfum. I don't know what the concentration is. They don't have that here. But this is a very fresh and ozonic fragrance. Super fresh. And I feel like pop music is very mass. So I think they gave us something a little bit more mass in the fragrance, in the style. What do you guys think? But it's got a crisp juiciness. It's quite musky. And I feel like ozonic notes, maybe it's violet leaves. It's giving me slight appley, cucumbery effect here. It's very, very fresh, and it's also very musky and powdery as well. I feel like it's good. It's just, it doesn't seem as edgy as some of the other ones can be, I guess. But anyway, I think it's nicely done. Suit of Lights. Look at the colors changing. Whoa. What the heck? Anyway. So that is the 54 section of the video. Now we've got 4 Lark fragrances, which I'm not too familiar with, so I'm going to be learning with you guys here. First of which is Argentium, which I do enjoy the smell of. In the end, this is kind of lavendery, warm, spicy. And something about it is familiar, and I'm not sure what it is. It almost seems like it could be something from MARRAKECH. I don't know why. Maybe Leighton-like a little bit. But with more lavender. Like the lavender is like very herbal. Are you guys familiar with Lark and Argentium? Let me know, add a comment below. My favorite in the collection is called Evasion. This is a bit tobacco vanille-like, but to me it's a bit more tobacco vanille, spice bomb, and something with lavender. But there's a major peppery spice about this. Super peppery. I like that, super peppery. This is also dry, so it's a very dry fragrance, and I feel like these kind of fragrances tend to go dry. Spice bomb, tobacco vanille are quite dry for me. Let me know your thoughts. Do you get the peppers as much as I do? Evasion. So the next one I don't really care for as much as I'd like to. It's called Memoir. Actually, it's not as bad. I think it's Serious that I don't care for, the next one. The next one is quite metallic and sharp. This does seem a bit mass market as well. It almost seems like there's spices, but it's kind of fresh and woody. There's some sweetness in here. These fragrances do have longer names. Lark Argentium is Halo de Lune. Lark Evasion is Digo de Havane. Lark Memoir, which is what I'm smelling now, Carnet de Voyage. And then the last one is called Serious. Are you serious? Are you serious? Yeah, this one is I think it almost seems like there's juniper. It's so crisp and sharp, and also ice cold and metallic. Very metallic here. Giving me that vibe of something like what's it called from MFK? Anyway. Yeah. Very cold. Very ice cold. Very juniper-like. And I might eventually come around to it, but it's quite metallic as of now. But let me know your thoughts on the house. I don't think Lark has very or any distribution in the States. But let me know if you've discovered the house. Add a comment below. Let's move on to a house called Laboratorio Olfativo. It's Oud in White. I think he did a really good job on this oud. He meshed it with indolic jasmine. Oh yeah, I could smell the jasmine. And even though I think Julien does quite a bit of ouds, I like the indolic animalic touch of the jasmine in here. Could be the oud too. Oud in White, I'm assuming they're referring to the white flowers of jasmine. It's almost like Beauty and the Beast. The oud is the beast, but in this case, I feel like the jasmine is a bit more beastly because we're getting this kind of funk. It's a dirtiness, the indolic touches. I think he did a great job on that one. Nothing like the moon. We can forget about the moon here. It's jasmine, lots of it, and the dirty kind, and of course oud. It's very woody. There's some smoky touches. Eventually some amber. I almost got like amber woods off the top as well. Oud in White from Laboratorio Olfativo. Let me know what your thoughts are on that one. Then we've got a fragrance from the house of Le Galion. It's Eau Folle, which I have a video on the channel of this, plus 2 additional fragrances from Le Galion that were created by Rodrigo Flores-Roux, but this one's created by Julien Rasquinet. It's also a very invigorating, clean, like men's fresh tonic-like fragrances. It's so crisp, but not metallic. It's so bracing and almost like cooling menthol-like. But again, like it's not juniper. Well, maybe there might be juniper here because I think it's very aromatic and I think we might be getting it from the juniper. But it doesn't have that sharpness that I got from that Serious fragrance. This is super green and cool and crisp. It's almost like a fougere, but not in a traditional way. Just acts like it. But it's got this greenness, this herbal aromatic quality, spiciness, freshness, and coolness. There's a bit of a vegetation vibe in this. Green kind of cold vegetation. It's so good. Really, really awesome fragrance from Le Galion. It's called Eau Folle. It's really nicely done. So good. Okay, we've got a fragrance from the house of Masque Milano. It is Russian Tea. This is an early creation from Julien and also an early creation from this brand. But also, right after this brand, I've got 3 fragrances from the house of Naomi Goodsir, which I have also just done a video recently. If you haven't caught that video, go catch it. A whole house overview. This Russian Tea is quite smoky. Bois d'Assess is also quite smoky, and I believe they came out around the same time. But the thing that's different with Russian tea versus Bois d'Assess, this has the tea effect for sure. It's smoky, but there's also something light and fruity under there as well. Almost kind of like plummy. It's very interesting. This fragrance, Russian tea, has acted a lot smokier before, but today it's acting fruitier. I don't know what, but my palate is off or different. And I haven't really loved Russian tea before, but today it's smelling really great. I don't know why. Let me know if you're a fan of Masque Milano's Russian tea. Add a comment below. It's weird. I always thought that it acted a bit like Bois d'Assess from Naomi Goodsir, but it doesn't act as much of it like that today. It's still smoky, but I'm not getting that kind of smoky effect that I got before. Strange. Are you a fan of Russian tea by Masque Milano? What's going on with Masque Milano, by the way? Let's move on to Naomi Goodsir. Bois d'Assess is the first one. He did 3 fragrances for the house. This, in the end, is uber smoky. Like, so smoky. Charred smoky. It's like a fireplace or a fire in a campfire. You're burning woods. You got a little bit of the smell of the woods, the aromatic, piney kind of tree kind of smells, but it's caught on fire and it's burning away. You're getting light traces of the actual smell, the realistic smell of the woods, but mostly it's charred and burned and smoked. It's nicely done. Really, really wonderful. But it's a bit challenging to wear fragrances like this. Out of the 3 from Naomi Goodsir, for me, it's CUIR Velours. Oh my God, it's good. So good. It's, I don't know what it is about this. I think it's a suede leather once again. There's also fruity kind of elements in here. Maybe a bit caramelly. Against the leather or the suede leather. Lovely. It's sweet, but not overly sweet. It's spicy for sure. And it doesn't act like your traditional leather. Behind all of that, there's also a slight, kind of almost gourmandesque, but not quite. It's really lovely. CUIR Velours. It's velvety leather, which can refer to suede leather. And then we've got Iris Cendre. I know I'm butchering the French, sorry. This is a very raw iris in its raw form. You are smelling iris that's been picked like potatoes are getting picked and left to mature because they have to be aged for like 2 years or so. And you walk into this place where they have all this iris roots and you could smell it. It's powdery, but to me this is more vegetable-y, carroty, thick and dense and buttery. It's pretty lovely, but it's not an easy fragrance to wear. It's easier to wear than the Bois d'Assess, but it's an acquired taste. I feel like it's definitely on the artistic side, but really lovely. Nicely done. I don't see Julien doing a lot of iris-focused fragrances, so it's definitely nice to have in your repertoire of fragrances you've created. Next, we're going to... we're getting to the end. We've got a page here. Not the full page. So we're we've done the Naomi Goodsir Iris Cendre, which was the first fragrance listed on the second page. Then we've got two Nishane fragrances that he did X's for. The Hachivat X and Wulong Cha X. I wish they did Ambre Calabria X. I love that fragrance, although I don't think it's one of their more popular fragrances. That's why they didn't do it. So Hachivat X. I feel like the Hachivat X got a bit crisper or less fruity or something. Is that what you guys get with this? I mean, in the end, it's very similar to the original. It's basically the same fragrance, but I feel like it's not as fruity. It's a bit more cold. And also not as screechy. I think the original is quite screechy. I'm a big fan of Hachivat. It's a very lovely, like Aventus style fragrance, but you know, it's pretty intense and also very screechy, metallic, very woody, but also lots of fruits and citruses and greener notes, patchouli and mossy notes as well. It's considered a Chypre. This is acting different. It's spicier as well. So that's Hachivat X. Now we've got Wulong Cha X. I was a late discoverer of Wulong Cha, but it's a really awesome scent. The original is great, and this one's good too. I feel like this is a bit more floral. And there's also a creamy undertone there, which I feel like there's a more floral effect, which provides that creaminess, the creamy layer. White flowers tend to go a bit creamy. It's almost like you've added like a dollop of cream in your tea. But, you know, if you drink Earl Grey tea, which is my favorite, you'll notice the bergamot, and there's bergamot in here. But it's not wearing like a lactonic fragrance. There's a slight creaminess in here, and I think that's coming from the white flowers in here. I believe it's magnolia, which I feel like it's very creamy as a white floral note. It's really awesome. I love it. It's a smell. It's a really great smell. Tea fragrances are so super cozy, and there's also that freshness about that one. So it's perfect to wear when it's warm outside. Next, we've got a fragrance from the house of Noya. It's called 5 Senses and 6 Directions. Are you guys familiar with this one? Do you know this house? I discovered the house at Dubai Beauty World, and I believe I also saw them at Scent Explorer last year. This is super spicy and very earthy. I feel like there's a lot of cypriol or some papyrus-like notes in here. Could be a bit oudi as well. But there's a freshness surrounding it, but it's like cypriol. Cypriol has a very distinct smell. It's almost like a cross between the patchouli and vetiver, but more on the vetiver side, I think. It's fresh, woody, spicy, earthy. So that's 5 Senses and 6 Directions. I'm not sure what that means, but that's by Noya. And then recently I did a video on, it's a haul video, and I mentioned this fragrance, Art Orafa from Salvatore Ferragamo. I don't have any Salvatore Ferragamo fragrances. I used to wear it back in the 90s. And I also bought it in the late 2000s and early 2010s, the Fig fragrance from Salvatore Ferragamo, but I don't have anything else. So I just bought this. This is the first one I had in a long time. This is a bit like the Moon, but not identical. It's warm and ambery, a bit fruity and rosy and spicy. It's really good, actually. Somebody wrote in the video I did, the haul video, they said that they were gatekeeping this fragrance. Actually, I heard about this when Julien Rasquinet had posted that he had created it. I always wanted to check it out. I never sampled it anywhere because I didn't see it anywhere. But I found the deal online and I said, you know, I'm going to buy it because I've been wanting to get it. So I bought it blind. And now it reminds me a little bit of the Moon and fragrances like that. It's not identical. This one's a bit juicier, whereas the Moon to me is dry. The only syrupy effect I get from the Moon is from the fruits that are in there, but the rest of the fragrance seems kind of dry. Almost as dry as like Cupid's Kiss from Electimuss London. Let me know if you're familiar with this. Art Orafa from the house of Salvatore Ferragamo. So around the same time we launched 54, this fragrance was launching at Harrods. It's an exclusive fragrance for Harrods by Tom Ford. It's called Amber Intrigue. It's created by Julien Rasquinet and Pascal Goran. So 2 IFF perfumers here, and also 2 IFF perfumers with the Dries Van Noten Chamomile Satin. But honestly, I much prefer the Chamomile Satin over the Amber Intrigue. I don't know why. The Amber Intrigue it's not an exciting fragrance for me, unfortunately. And I love Tom Ford and I love the creations of Julien Rasquinet, but this is supposed to be dates. But you know, this fragrance has gotten a bit better as it's aged. I can really smell the dates all of a sudden. And I had a hard time smelling the dates. Not as bad as it used to be. It's very warm and spicy. It's a kind of a Middle Eastern style. The dates and, you know, ambery notes. You guys familiar with Amber Intrigue? Is it a love? Is it a hate? Is it a like? Is it... I don't care? Add a comment below. That's Amber Intrigue. And then we've got Tutotondo Rizzo. You guys familiar with this house? It's a budget Italian house. This smells so good. It smells like rice. It's powdery, it's musky, it's kind of savory, maybe salty. Super cozy. The fragrance has a little bit of musky layer under the powdery effect of the rice. It has a very cozy effect, and I think it's so good for autumn. This is also like super cheap in Italy. It's like 50 euros for 100 ml. And if you're looking for a rice fragrance, I've recommended this before. This is highly recommended. He did so good on this. And I think, well, it's been a while since I've looked up the price. It was around 50 euros for a while, but things have jacked up within the last 2-3 years. So... But among all that powdery stuff, there's a freshness under there and a muskiness and a perfect autumn fragrance, I think. If you like the idea of rice, kind of savory. It's savory and sweet here. It's not super savory and salty. It's more sweet and savory. But super musky, fresh and powdery. Really lovely fragrance. I can't believe it's an inexpensive fragrance. It's so good. And then we've got 2 fragrances from the house of Van Cleef & Arpels. We've got Orchid Leather, one of my favorites from Julien. Love it. Really, really love this one. I bought this in 2020 from Harrods, ordered it during the pandemic, and I was, you know, it was a blind buy. I was like waiting and waiting, and finally came, and I was like, oh, this is good. This is a kind of a glossy lacquer, like plummy, juicy, fruity, slightly boozy, with vanilla and of course leather. Of course, there's the leather again. But it's so nicely done. The plums in this are so super delicious. Probably one of my favorite plum fragrances lately. Are you guys familiar with this one? Orchid Leather from the house of Van Cleef & Arpels. Then one more fragrance from the house of Van Cleef & Arpels. This is Rose Rouge. I wasn't aware that he did this one. It's slightly gourmandesque. It's super powdery, also kind of juicy, fruity, and of course, rose. This might come off a bit like Delina, or in that kind of an idea where you've got rose and slightly, this is powdery, where it's not acting as milky as the Delina does. But the fact that it has some fruitiness in there, it's giving me that kind of an idea of Delina. Feminine leaning for sure. But I think women would totally love this if they knew it had kind of similarities to Delina. Let me know if you get that from that. But my favorite Van Cleef & Arpels creation that he did is for sure Orchid Leather. It's really, really good. And then the last fragrance I'm going to talk to you about that's created by Julien Rasquinet is Seahorse from Zoologist Perfumes. Are you a fan of this one? This to me was not one of my favorites from the house, but just like everything else, I've kind of gotten used to it. Now I like it. It's not a love. It's salty. It's marine. It's definitely not something that I've smelled from Julien, so it's very unique. But there's a major greenness about it, like kelpy, like sea kelp. I don't know. When I first sampled that, I think I wasn't as into marine notes as I am now. And I recently featured that in a marine fragrances video. And since that video, it smells even better today. So go figure. Why am I getting kind of apple-y, kind of ozonic touches? There's a crispness about it. And I love the color of this bottle. It's almost like a candy. Kind of like a greenish, yellowish candy. Yeah. Anyway, that's the last fragrance from the House of Zoologist Perfumes, created by Julien Rasquinet. So which of these fragrances is your favorite? Let me know. Add a comment below. So let's start with a ranking. I'm not going to pause the video. I'm just going to go right ahead and rank. So I'm going to have to put this at number 1. 54. I'm so proud of it. I love it. But followed by the Moon. So number 1, Jusbox is 54. The Moon at number 2. So what comes at number 3? What comes at number 3? Orchid Leather. I'm in love with that fragrance. Absolutely love it. It's so yum. Okay, what's next? Royal Oud at number 4. Royal Oud at number 4. Oh, Chamomile Satin at number 5. But what I'm going to do is move Royal Oud to number 5. And I'm going to put Chamomile Satin at number 4. So I do enjoy that more. I can't remember if this is still selling, the VETIVER Geranium. I'm going to put that at number 6. I love that fragrance. It's so damn good. Okay, what comes next? I'm going to do a top 10. Eau Folle at number 7. Yes, for sure. I love it. It's so good. Carioca Heart at number 8. Oh boy. Just making sure. I guess I will put I at number 9. CUIR Velour at number 10. You guys want me to keep going? So I will put, let's see, 54 at number 1, the Moon at number 2, Orchid Leather at number 3, Chamomile Satin at number 4, Royal Oud at number 5, Vetiver Geranium at number 6, Carioca Heart at number 7, Eau Folle at number 8, I at number 9, Queer Velour at number 10. Let's continue going, shall we? Fidelis at number 11, Rizo at number 12, Santal at number 13. Gotta put Gladiator Oud at number 14. One more, just one more. What? Anything? Let's go with Sirens and Sailors at number 15. Anyway, that's the ranking, guys. Let me know what your favorite Julien Rasquinet fragrances are. What's missing from the list? Obviously, I don't have everything here. So I can't rank them if I don't have them, or I can't even speak about them if I don't have them. But let me know a favorite fragrance of yours created by Julien Rasquinet that I haven't ever spoken about. Do add a comment so I can find out what it is, so I can talk about it in the future. And I appreciate you tuning in today to watch this very long form video on the fragrances of Julien Rasquinet in a deep dive video format. Everything should be timestamped or chaptered, so you should be able to skip around from fragrance to fragrance. And I should say there's also that playlist of videos in the deep dive series, so you can just click on it and watch back-to-back hours and hours of content. All of them should have chapters you can skip around. But again, thanks so much for watching today's video. If you have any questions or comments, please list below. Please like this video, give a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and click that bell icon so you'll be notified for future videos and when they come up next. See you guys later. Bye-bye.